All right, everybody. We're going to start as a few more people get on board here. Welcome, everybody. I have a backdrop. You'll see the BreezeMax logo in the back, so hopefully you can see me okay. It seems to be working fine right now. Welcome as everyone gets in here. We got some people on board here. We also are streaming on other networks. We got other people piping in from all across the country. Let us know in the chat on the side where you're coming from. If you're coming from the East Coast of the US, West Coast, Canada, wherever in the world, let us know. Note that in the comment section. Keep yourself muted as well. It would just be great if you can mute until the end when we are opening it up to Q&A after myself and our special guest speaker has been joining us today. We'll be having a Q&A. Have some pen and paper and note-taking ability to jot down the information that we're going to be delivering to you today. Please have I would love your undivided attention as well. Myself and our co-host Anastasia would really appreciate that because we're delivering a ton of value, helping out businesses. And again, also too, as Anastasia mentioned earlier, any questions in the chat would be amazing. Put those in there right now. They will also come up as we go here. You're going to have some different thoughts of different ideas that you need help with. So let us know. And I'm going to actually introduce my co-host, Anastasia, who's been with the company for almost a year now. She's creating meaningful connections and relationships for BreezeMax Web, our company. I am your host, Brennan Gowler, Senior Media Consultant, and I make businesses' phones ring off the hook so that they're busier than ever before. You can see I'm growing my quarantine beard here. I have a competition with my brother-in-law, so everyone's hunkering down right now and trying to do the best they can. But we are live, everybody. Today, we're also excited to have on another industry-leading expert. We'll introduce him in about 10 to 15 minutes, which will be amazing. And really today, our goal is to deliver a ton of value to you, as we have been doing for the past few weeks. We've had hundreds and hundreds of businesses join. Very exciting. We've been offering we call them COVID-free business support tools. Mike Mall, our guest speaker, also has a free guide that we're going to introduce a little bit later, and you can talk to him about that. If you need other marketing services as well from us, we are here for you to support you, as we do with all of our clients all across the country. If you need referrals or need help with your website, let us know as well. So Anastasia, did you have anything to add to that? Sorry to put you on the spot.
That's okay. No, so all I'm going to add is to just invite everybody to please put their questions in the chat. We'll be answering them after. And anything that might come up, just write it down in the chat. I'll be communicating with everybody throughout the webinar. Thank you.
Perfect. And once again, just keep yourself muted, please and thank you. It just helps me out because I'm managing things from this side, from the dashboard. All right, so we're going to get started. We're back again today. Obviously, we've had a good couple of weeks. Like I mentioned, yesterday's topic was how to capitalize on the huge spike in traffic and get more referrals with your business map listing. We had our expert and VP, one of our VPs, Chris Munier, on the call. Next week's topics we have set up for next week are how to get funding for your new business during a pandemic, right? A lot of you are starting new businesses, or maybe you've been around for a couple of years or less. How can you get funding? How can you tap into that? We have Ashwin Kodamarti of the Kodamarti Group. He's been on this past Tuesday, so don't miss that as well. Great speaker. Next, we have next Wednesday, local SEO. Be proactive with your online reputation and review strategy. So we're going to talk to you a lot about that. Chris will be back on for that. Great speaker as well. And then, of course, next week we have a new speaker that is joining us. She is the content writer for Lush, the company that many of you are aware of, Lush. So the topic will be, can relevant content strengthen your brand in a crisis? So we have some great topics for next week. We're just continuing to improve these and deliver a ton of value to you. A little bit about us. So we are called BreezeMax Web. If you haven't heard of us before, we're coast to coast, east to west, north to south. And we've been around since 2005. We started in all across Canada, US, even in Europe. And so we're on both sides of the border in North America here. I've been with the company since 2017, for the past 3.5 years. Seen a lot of changes in the marketing landscape, and certainly, we're going through more changes, more turbulent times right now. Never seen anything quite like this, honestly, as many of you are feeling right now. But thankfully, you know, we have history to learn from, and we can tap into the experience of others, tap into our knowledge, tap into other, you know, your competitors as well too, and see what they're doing and what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong. Normally we meet clients in person. That's what makes us different as a company. We are a local company. We have offices in major markets across Canada, and presence even in the US. And so we meet with our clients one-on-one. We're able to deliver value face-to-face and dive deep into their business. But you know what? The next best thing is obviously this platform. So we are definitely proud to step up more than ever before too, because you know we were always leading from the front and helping businesses, but during this time we are introducing these services. So had a ton of success with them, offered them to clients at the very beginning. It's mandatory for all our clients to have these we call them COVID business support tools. We started offering it now to non-clients, and a lot have signed up for them. So I recommend you get in on that as well. And really, you know, when all this happened, we had to act swiftly and with precision as a company, as an organization. And so we reset a little bit and changed our strategy to help the communities. We partnered with business associations all across the country as well. And so these support tools on the left, you'll see an example. And so this is an HVAC company. They have the live chat on their site. So we've offered this to our clients. Sorry, we have it on, we can offer it on your site as well. No charge, no contract. On the right-hand side, you'll see a banner that is at the top there, top of the screen. It's in blue. And it just really is an advisory. So it lets your clients and new clients know what's going on in your company. Have you adjusted your hours? Have you cut back? Have you changed to delivery options? What have you been doing? And it just really provides reassurance and comfort to your clients. You can also have add-ons as well. If you have a list for emails or phone numbers, we can tap into that. We can use that to help you blast out your messaging so you continue to survive this storm and get through it as as unscathed as possible, and so get to the other side. And really, another reason too with these free products as well, what we're doing, because we're not skinny chefs, we're doing the same thing that we are advising our clients to do, is that at the end, some clients will come back to us and say, we need more services from you. And so you can do the same thing as well. Start planting the seeds in your business. And today's topic is perfect because social media is all about the longer term plan, right? There is some short-term strategy in there, but really just be top of mind. So when your customers need you, they think of you first, okay? And that's what we advise to do. Today's topic is, what is your social media calendar and how does it work? And our featured guest speaker is Mike Mall, founder of Social Media House. And he is also a brand builder as well. Okay, I'm going to introduce him in about 10 minutes, like I said. This is for those of you that are on the fence a little bit with social media. And I know this, and we know this as a company because we talk to many of you. And many of you clients express to us that, they don't know if social media is right for them, or when they should post, or when they're going to see the return, right? So you may be thinking these things. You've always You've always said that you never had the time to do these things, to tap into these platforms, and now you do. So focus that energy towards this part of your online presence. It is key, it is huge, and it should not be left behind. We are all in a heightened state right now. Whether it's your staff, whether you as this solo entrepreneur, whether you manage a large company, small to medium-sized company as well, we're all in a heightened state, right? But really, this is allowing us to do things that we never were going to do before. It's forcing us to change our ways and to adapt, and this will catapult us into a new direction for our business. Also for your customers as well. They're looking for services. They are more focused and paying attention, even though there is noise in the marketplace. They're focused on social media and on Google, and that hasn't changed. Money doesn't necessarily dry up right now. It just changes hands. And so you have to find that money. Where is the money for your business as well? Okay. Definitely stand out, and your customers need you. And so like I said, they're also flocking to these platforms for advice, for entertaining content, seeing what's happening in the local community, worldwide community. And as this market resets here, position your brand strategically. so that you have a foundation for when this all passes. And business will be a little bit different, but some of it will go back to the way it was, some of it. The path that we all take. So this is, I'm going to walk you through a little bit about the consumer journey that we have and the flow that you take yourself even. So whatever you do as a human being, your customers are human beings. They do the same thing as well. You just haven't thought of this process before. When you find businesses that you interact with and call, here's what you do. You maybe were referred from a friend, or they mentioned a business name in passing, maybe at a party, maybe Anastasia mentioned a business to me, right? And so you either go on Google to check them out first. You might even check their social media presence, and of course their website. Then you call them and you visit them right away, let's say, okay? You may even come back and do repeat business with them because it was a great customer experience that you had with them. And again, then you pass on the business name as well, and that is continual word of mouth. You just keep the chain going. You've completed that referral, right? Or there's an incomplete referral. You're not ready to buy or use the brand that you're looking up, but you leave. Oh, someone's calling me here on another device. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. My bad. Apologies for that. Someone was calling me on my phone here. Okay, so if there's an incomplete referral, you're not ready to buy or use them yet. So you may leave the website, okay? Maybe the website's too slow, and so you need to fix that as well. A week later, you go onto social media, their ad pops up, or a remarketing ad, even on Google, okay, which is a great product. It's those ads that follow you around on the internet when you search for something. So maybe you search for a flight and you see that ad follow you around. You see it on social media, you see it on different sites. It's called the Google Display Network, okay? And if you have relevant targeted content, this also pops up and will help you choose that business as well. So it's called top of mind marketing. And now you're one step closer to completing that referral. As well, you want to have, the ideal thing is to have great positioning on Google so that when you are entrenched enough on Google, then you can explore the social media world. And so some of you may have good positioning already through, the 3 main areas on Google, the ads, the maps, and everything below that. If you're at that point, then really explore the social media game more and more. The reality is that you should be leveraging all these platforms for lead generation and social media, as it is part of your funnel, right? The entire funnel where you get business from. So it's becoming more and more important now as we tell stories of our brand, past, present, and future, right? Mike will talk more about this and why this is important. Talk about the evolution of your company. Talk about the wins. Talk about client successes. Talk about the, what makes you different as a brand. Document everything. You don't need to create, because we get focused on perfection and creating new things. And so, like Mike will say a little bit later, we're very nosy as consumers. We want to see what everyone else is doing. So you can tap into that as well as a business. Definitely stay top of mind. So once the consumer comes back to you and you've stood out amongst the noise, what then, right? How do you get them to keep coming back? Well, you need to remain top of mind and be well known online. We recommend to our clients, don't slow down your marketing. Just tweak it and be smart about it. Unless you're like, you can't put food on your table, then of course, be smart about it. Talk to your client base as well, more than ever before. Poll them, ask them what's going on with you. Suggest ideas to help them, offer deals. And so this depends on the type of business, but if you contact us, we'll deep dive into your business and figure out what exact strategies. Leverage these tools since face-to-face is non-existent right now for the most part. And then when all this passes, you then have two different channels that you can go back to face-to-face, and you also have the online world. An example that I want to use is a company called White Rabbit Coffee Co. They're actually just west of us out here on the west coast of Canada, on Vancouver Island it's called. And this business is a really cool, like trendy, hip coffee shop, very nice, modern. And they've put on their Instagram, they've said, you know, this is what's happening. We're open. We're doing a delivery service. We've adjusted our operations. They've even taken our advice and they've started to send out baskets to the local hospitals, and they're charging them for it as well. But they bring their coffee in there, like the bags of coffee, the beans, and now, you know, nurses and medical staff are buying from them. So what a great way to get your name out there. You can also use direct messaging, stories, and posts. Most of you should be familiar with that. Direct messaging is powerful right now to connect with your clients as well, just talking to them and being in touch with them, right? Stay top of mind. Other things to stay top of mind on, you know, I just want to mention too, who do you think of when you think of an accountant, right? If you think of a dentist, a spa, what's the first brand that comes to mind, right? The example that I want to use is when I think of a junk removal company, I actually think of this company that started advertising on Google, and they're on Instagram as well. And they just have a great video showing the process when they come to your house. They see the junk on you leave the junk on your front yard and it's there. They don't even have to talk. They don't even have to see you face to face. There's social distancing. They pick up the junk, they remove it, and it's done. So they've transformed the yard. And so he actually uses that language in his ad. He says, we're helping transform your house, and we're cleaning up your yard. So they are solving a need, solving a problem. Sorry. A couple of other examples. These are bigger brands that have been doing this for a while with the social media world. It's a company called Cooking with Dog, and this is actually a funny thing. It's a channel where this lady literally cooks with her dog. She has 1.4 million subscribers. She sells branded merchandise on her e-commerce site. So she's been doing this for a while, but the principle still remains the same. She started with very few followers, and she's doing what she loves. But she put the word out there, and then when people think of, you know, recipes and who to talk to, they think of her. This one I think most of you will like as well. It's called Dental Impressions. So this individual, he's a dental student. He's almost done the schooling. He has 22,000 followers, and he's highlighting his journey. He's building a reputation in the industry. He's becoming literally a celebrity dentist. So how can you do that similar thing in your business as well? Out of 22,000 followers that he has, even 1% contact him when he's opening up his practice. That's 220 people. Out of 220 people, maybe he only gets 20 patients, 30 patients out of that. That's a nice book of business to start his practice with. I'm now happy to transition here into Mike Mall, and I'm going to introduce him here. Mike Mall is the founder and CEO of Social Media House. It is a marketing consulting agency focused on training executives and their teams how to simplify, streamline, and optimize their online marketing efforts. Since its launch 6 years ago, Mike and the Social Media House team have spent millions of dollars on Google and Facebook ad platforms, built thousands of campaigns, who have 10 times their return on investment, and consulted on more than 500 projects. He's also the host of the Market Me podcast, where he's interviewed over 50 entrepreneurs, providing strategic insights on their business and campaigns. So as Mike gets set up here, he's probably already set up. Maybe unmute yourself, Mike. I'm going to welcome you on here. How's it going, Mike?
Good, Brennan. Thanks so much for having me, man.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, great to have you on. Do you want me to stop sharing here and you can share the slides?
Yeah, up to you. If you want to, if you just want to share them on yours, or you can pass me over the hosting, and I'm happy to do it.
Actually, yeah. You know what? I will just show them on mine. Just give me 1 sec here.
Sure thing.
I believe it's this one.
All right, well, that's coming up.
While everybody's getting set up, I just want to remind everyone that starting next week, we're only going to have one webinar a day, which will be at 4 p.m. Eastern time. We won't be doing the 8 a.m. anymore.
Yes, thanks for that, Anastasia. I forgot that. That's a great point. All right, Mike, take it away. It's all yours.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for having me on. Coming at you here from sunny Mexico. This isn't a Zoom background. We're actually living down here for the next little while. It's a beautiful spot to quarantine, so we got pretty lucky. So I wanted to come on and talk a little bit about content calendars, and I think there's a lot of people that think about content calendars and social media and value content in a way that's a little bit overwhelming. And so I wanted to take a more of a pragmatic approach. A lot of us are small business owners, myself included. We wear a lot of hats. We have a lot of functions that we do, and prioritizing a post on Facebook is never at the top of the list, right? Selling, making payroll, running your accounting. These are the things that we have to focus on. But I think it's really important to think about communications and social media as a whole, because it really can build relationships and drive kind of community engagement, which is an important part of your sales process. So the basic functions of a content calendar is basically to have a spot where all of your correspondence is housed in one place. It's an area where you can pay attention to, events that are going on in your community, things you want to talk about, promotions that your businesses are going to be having, and it's kind of a great place to keep everything together. But before we go into it, I want to take a step back and talk about just content as a whole. I know that word is kind of thrown around quite a bit, and a lot of times it's taken in a social media context, but really what it is it's, any picture, audio, video, and text that you're broadcasting out into the world. And that can be broadcasted to your existing followers, your existing customers. But it's not just on social media. This stuff is everywhere. This is, the content that you have on your website, the Google My Business phone number and address that you have listed on your business listing, the posters and flyers that you have on the counter at your store. It's all encompassing. And so when we're talking about it as a calendar, or we're talking about planning this stuff, I want you to think about it as all of your business broadcast, all of your business communication as one thing. It doesn't just have to be, National Cupcake Day and Take Your Kid to Work Day. It really should be kind of across the board for everything. So why is content for your business important? I mean, there's some obvious things, but really it acts as the front line and the customer service for your business. If you think about how many times you've had to pick up the phone and ask and answer the question about what your hours were, how much something costs, if you're going to be open this day, if this sale was still going on, portals for you to broadcast this information so you don't have to answer the phone and answer the same question over and over and over again. And it does act, from a customer service perspective, because it's a way for people to reach out to you, through chatting and through those social media channels. But I think I love it because it answers the frequently asked question. What I think a lot of people leave out here is, okay, we have a sale going on. This is what's happening. I think a lot of people leave the fact that it can showcase your brand's personality. I think people don't make that as important as it should be. I think people connect with people. Nobody cares about your product or service. Nobody cares about my product or service until they need it. And when they need it, they want to work with someone that they connect with. Even thinking about hiring, you don't necessarily hire someone with the qualifications. You hire someone that you want to work with, that you're comfortable with, that you go out and have a beer with after work. So, content is a great avenue to showcase your brand's personality, to let people make deeper connections with you. And I think that's a focus of what we'll kind of touch on today. So there's two types of content, really. One is engagement content, and then the other is promotional content. So in my opinion, the best way to break this down is to use less sales and promotional content and more engaging content. Because I think, again, think about the brands that you follow. How many brands do you follow on Facebook and Instagram, and why do you follow them? If you want people to follow you, you have to give them a good reason to do it. And if it's just because things are going on sale this week, that's fine. I follow Bed Bath & Beyond because I want the 50% off coupons, but I don't care about anything else they're doing. And if I find a product from them that's cheaper, it's just when you lead with value, which we'll go into what I mean by that, it really does on a deeper level. So we'll start with the engagement content. It should be about 80% of what you put out versus 20% promotional. And there's kind of three pillars. There's three different channels for this. One channel is informational. So that can be anything from how to use a product, how to do a service. It could be the hours that you're open, how something works, who your staff is, any information, questions that people would ask you. And when I think about informational content, I really like to reflect on what would make my potential customers' life easier. What knowledge, if they had, would make them happier to connect with me, or even make them a better customer. So I really focus. I think informational is usually the majority. Restaurants putting out like recipe and how to do these cocktail. Like, these are the types of content informational content falls under. Entertainment content. I'm not going to produce some funny show. I'm not going to produce some YouTube segment with my staff, but entertainment doesn't have to be funny or produced. I think the key with entertainment, and Brendan hammered, he had that point earlier, which I really believe in. People are really nosy. If you think about the people that you follow or the brands that you follow on social media, story, and you just want to see what's going on, right? So giving people some semblance of like what's going on behind the scenes. Here's how we're working on, taking people with you on a day of deliveries of your product. People like to see what you're doing. They like to connect with the people behind the scenes of the finished, polished product. So with entertaining content, it can just be, letting people in on what you guys are doing. And then motivation or motivational content is kind of the other pillar. A lot of people think about this like, the fitness influencers and those motivational quotes from your nutritional person. But I think motivation can be taken in a bit of a different angle. I think showcasing wins that your company has created, showcasing, case studies or testimonials from your company, that's motivating to other people. Seeing how your product helps somebody. Showcasing what your suppliers and what your partners, even your marketing agency, when something good happens for them or they have some successful milestone, sharing that with your community is a good way of, letting people know that you're not just focused on you, showcasing other people and other people's successes. And so that's, to me, should be about 80% of the content that you come up with. And then, of course, we have to sell, right? It can't all just be, look what Ted is doing and, here's some information about our store. We need to sell. We need to make money as companies. So promotion is not a bad thing. It's just you don't want to be the Instagram person that every third post or every other post or even every post with the text on it saying we're doing a special today, just nobody's gonna stay with you long enough to pay attention to that. It gives me no motivation to follow you. But you do have to promote. So when you have a sale going on, when you're launching a new product or service, when you're hiring, your website or on your Facebook or on your LinkedIn, but just keeping it to a minimum and leading with value is, I think, one of the biggest takeaways and one of the biggest things I've learned when you're trying to build real, and then as a whole, as you're developing these content calendars, which we'll kind of go into on the next slide, this is all the different stuff. So you may look at a calendar of different events coming up in your community. You may look at national, funny national days that exist on some of those calendars. You might look at when you guys have sales and promotions going on and take a look at it over the course of at least 1 month. Plan at least one, hash out where all these things fit in. If you have a calendar in front of you and you find a couple of funny things you want to talk about, you're not going to post those things on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of the same week, right? You want to spread them out throughout the month. So a calendar is just a really great way for you to assess, what am I talking about? How much am I talking about it? And do I need to spread it out further? And we do it in a really simple format. We just do it in a Google Doc that's parsed out into a grid over the course. And like I said, we'll look at a number of different sources. The resource that I'm going to leave everybody with, if you want it, our company has actually developed 760 different social media posts for the entire year of 2020. So we've pulled content and ideas from all kinds of different calendars and stuffed it into one spot. And it's a free resource that we offer. So if you're looking for some ideas or some inspiration on what to post, then we'll send that out afterwards. If you just go to the next slide there. Thanks. And so again, planning this is content that's going to go out on your social. This is content that you're going to have on your storefront or on your print materials. You should plan this all in it be a brochure that you make. But if you map out, 10 to 15 ideas throughout a month, then you can determine, what are we going to do with this? Maybe it's just a social media post. Maybe it's a social media post and a web banner. You can kind of see what makes sense to broadcast in different ways, but you can really plan all of your correspondence, all of your customer. Next.
Mike, I'm not sure if you can hear me, but you're cutting out a little bit.
So, at the end of the day, try and formulate these ideas. Let me just fix something. Am I back now?
Yes. It was just cutting out, so we
Can you
didn't
hear me okay?
the last bit. Yeah.
Okay, great. Got it. And so I'll just repeat that. And so just on the final slide there, why use this calendar? Why formulate these ideas ahead of time? I think the biggest thing that we've seen is when you try and come up with an idea or a post or a promotion at the last minute, we've all done it. We send out brochures with spelling mistakes, right? We post something on our website and the link's broken. It doesn't go the right spot. We all wear a lot of hats and we all have a finite amount of time. So planning this stuff in advance allows us to collect our assets, test our campaigns and make sure that everything is done right ahead of time. And really what it comes down to is it's better for planning out your business. It's like if with your accounting, for example, you don't go every day of the month and say, oh, Monday the 1st is my day to bill these 3 clients and Tuesday the 2nd I'll bill these 2 clients. No, you bill on the 1st and the 15th so that you don't forget anything and you do the work in a batch. And I think it gives you time to plan it, and it gives you time to make sure that your communication strategy is strong and that everything's going to come together and work. And that's it. Any questions?
Thank you. So if anybody has questions, please write them in the chat or feel free to unmute yourself and ask your questions to Mike and Brennan.
Hey guys, I'd like to chime in real quick. It's Steve Savetkovich here. I'm a senior VP at BreezeMax Web. First, I just wanted to thank you all for being here. I hope you had got a ton of value out of this call today. I've been good friends with Mike Mall, our guest speaker, for many years, and I got to tell you that all of the hints and tips and advice that he's given me over the years for my social media has been a huge boon to my active presence online. And I do like to post really personal things, even if it's a large event like we're going through right now with COVID-19. I still like to make sure that my engagement with my audience is still personal to what I am doing during these times. And it's been really effective in reassuring my clients, reassuring my family, reassuring my friends that things are moving in a really positive direction. So if you have any other questions about how to construct a social media calendar, how to personalize these things, I highly encourage you to reach out to Mike directly through Social Media House, as well. Anastasia can kind of help coordinate you guys together. Those one-on-one calls where we get a chance to do a deep dive have been really beneficial to the dozens of people that have been on these calls in the last few weeks. So I look forward to hearing from all of you. Yeah, if there are any questions, I would love to fill those right now.
So we have a question from Steve Gregory from Australia. He says, really interesting presentation. How do we access the resources Mike mentioned?
Mike, you want to take that?
I think Mike is frozen right now.
Okay, so until Mike unfreezes. So just so you guys know, when Mike started the Social Media House a few years ago, he was based out in Toronto, Canada. and they were hustling. They were grinding away, you know, long hours every single day. And I'm not sure if you mentioned this or not, but he's actually calling you guys from Mexico right now. He has been on a permanent vacation.
I'll send out a link.
There he is.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead, Mike. Good. Do we see another question in the chat there, Anna?
Well, Elena would just like us to go back to the last slide, if possible.
Okay.
So
Brandon, you want to go back to that last slide?
thank you. There you go, Elena. And so far, those are the only questions.
Yeah. So to answer Steve's question, I'll send out.
Well, Mike, what you can do, if you can hear me, put on your information in the chat. That way everybody could have access and copy and paste it.
I also just wanted to also just recap a couple of things that Mike mentioned in there. I really liked how he has that the PDF that we're just talking about that he's going to send out to the attendees. Gives you, 700 social media ideas, right? Also the batch production. As business owners, right, we need to treat this as a very important part of your business. It's as important, as I mentioned earlier this morning, as important as your payroll, right? Treat social media as important. I think a lot of us too, as business owners, we think that social media is not going to be providing the return on investment, but like Mike eloquently explained, it is a balance between delivering value and also selling at the same time. And so it is part of your funnel, part of the entire marketing funnel.
Yeah, absolutely. Did I make it back? Can people hear me again?
We can hear you now. Yeah, we can hear you, Mike. Thanks for coming back.
Great. Yeah, so I just saw Steve's other question here about, so what days of the week are strongest for positioning your
You cut out again. I think it was what days of the week.
It really depends on your audience. So sorry, my signal might be dead here.
Yeah, you might want to respond to that question in the chat, Mike.
I apologize.
No worries, that Mexican Wi-Fi is a little twitchy, I see.
I'm usually good, but too
Great.
many Zoom calls today, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, so, people joining from all over these things. While you're typing that answer, I'll just kind of remind everybody that next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, there will only be the one web series, the afternoon web series, 1 p.m. West Coast time, 4 p.m. East Coast time. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we have some exciting guests. We're having the return of Ashwin from Price Cooper Waterhouse, the account consultant, to talk about more grant money and loans and things like that that are available to businesses. On Wednesday, we're having part 2 of our GMB reputation management conversation with guest Chris Mounier. And on Thursday, I'm very, very excited to have a senior content writer, Naomi Warren from Lush Cosmetics. Lush is a large retail brand all across the world, and she'll be talking to you about how the right content during COVID-19 can really make or break the difference of engagement with your audience, which is a great kind of sequel to today's conversation with Mike Mall. So I hope you've all gotten a ton of value out of these calls. We're trying to tackle new subjects every day. So, please make sure if there's something you specifically want to talk about, let Brennan and Anastasia know. We'll factor it into our web series. As well, if you know other business owners or managers, influencers that are looking for some advice around these COVID-19 coronavirus subjects and how to, leverage the marketing, please, share the link, invite them out. This is a public service, and we're here to support, reassure all of you that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and that tunnel is coming up fast. So look forward to seeing you guys share that out. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve. And I just want to mention here too that if anyone wants to talk to us at BreezeMax Web or Mike Mall at Social Media House, just connect with Anastasia, our co-host here, and discuss with her about setting up times or content that you need to be sent out for more information. So thanks, everyone. We're going to keep this open if anyone has any more questions.
Same. Anybody who has questions for us, for BreezeMax, and as well for Mike, please feel free, message me, and I will organize calls for everybody. So
All right.
Elena just added, you had mentioned that the calendar is not just for social. You said it can be on brochures, banner, etc. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I think just using a calendar for the sake of what you're going to post on social media is a little bit putting all of the calendar of everything you're doing, a calendar of all your promotions, all of your internal things, all into one spot, so you can determine how you want to talk about those things. Right. So a sale that you're coming up, you're going to change it might as well be in with the social media calendar, so you know what else you're going to be posting and the other topics you're going to be posting about. So I like to keep all of my communications in one calendar.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your questions and comments. We appreciate it. So I will leave the chat open for another 5 minutes. So please feel free, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. And I will be booking your appointments, your one-on-one calls.